I'll tell you, that was a beautiful moment. Unfortunately, Martha Raddatz comes out and really puts her foot in it. Yeah, we don't want anybody being bullied by Venezuelan dangerous gangs. And that is why all 16,000 members of the Border Patrol Union endorsed former President Trump yesterday. National Border Patrol Council President Paul Perez spoke at the Trump rally in Arizona, saying Trump is the only person who can fix the border. Trump unveiled plans to hire 10,000 new border agents and give them a 10% raise. Joining me now is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, a member of the House Ways and Means, as well as Science, Space, and Technology Committees. Congresswoman, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Your reaction to what you just heard?
Well, it is amazing how brilliantly J.D. Vance is out there exceeding all expectations, doing a fantastic job on the trail. Yeah. And I just love the way he turned this around. And can you believe that only a handful, she emphasized only a handful. Remember, Joe Biden said it was okay for Russia to do a minor incursion into Ukraine, and now we're at full-scale war. That's exactly what's going on in the United States. They allow only a handful, which is turned into a mass invasion at our border. Over 10 million people that we know of. 85% of the people on the terror watch list are coming across the northern border. You've heard me say this ever since I went to the northern border a couple of years ago now in my new district. It's incredible what I hear, the trail cam videos I get. This is dangerous to our security. It's costing us billions of dollars. Over $5 billion. Estimates are up to $9 billion in New York alone. Across this country, billions of dollars, tens, hundreds of billions being spent on illegal immigrants, undermining the relative wealth of Americans and undermining their safety. Not one Venezuelan gang should be allowed into the United States, let alone a handful invading and intimidating and taking over apartment complexes in this country.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, to hear this ABC host, Martha Raddatz, say, oh, it was only a handful. I mean, is she not aware that 350 people have been encountered who are actually on the terrorist watch list right now? Is she not aware that 15,000 people who have already been convicted of murder are running around in America, 13,000 convicted of rape? And where does Alejandro Mayorkas sit in all of this? The Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Mayorkas is defending FEMA's response to the hurricanes Helene and Milton. He claims FEMA has enough resources now to help the immediate victims of the hurricanes. But Mayorkas is now calling on Congress to pass additional funding for the rest of hurricane season, Congresswoman. So let me get this straight. 2 weeks ago, Alejandro Mayorkas comes out. He tells us FEMA will not be able to make it through the hurricane season. They're running out of money. Then we find all these sound bites from Karine Jean-Pierre back in 2022, and she's walking us through how FEMA money is being used for illegal migrants. Then the White House comes out and says, no, it's all misinformation. There was no FEMA money used for the illegal migrants, and we have all the money we need. But by the way, we still need more money from Congress for FEMA. What do you think?
Well, look, we know that about 2%, it was up from 1% just a couple of weeks ago, of the FEMA money that's been appropriated is being used for hurricane relief. I mean, 2%? This is incredible, Maria. This is 2%. Hurricane season. We're well into it. This is where it goes. I mean, look, we've got incredible stories, coming from my region because FEMA's response is poor. Let me first say, the phenomenal job that Governor Ron DeSantis has done being prepared for the hurricane in Florida. But look, they're used to hurricanes, but they've done an amazing job. I mean, it's been a tragedy. It was overwhelming. People have died. It's horrible. My heart goes out to them. But look at the response in North Carolina. A terrible response because we have a Democratic governor that wasn't prepared. And then we have people in my community like Dennis Kelly and his wife, Kat, an amateur helicopter operator who heard about it on Facebook to go rescue some friends of his parents, 89, 90-year-old, and I think an 87-year-old on a mountaintop in North Carolina, went in and saved them and then decided they couldn't stand to watch the lack of response and went in for an additional week, risking his own life and saving even more people with his own. I mean, literally, this is an amateur helicopter operator. Oh, guess what he does? He's a lineman. And who are, among our greatest first responders are linemen. They're putting the power back on. They're in harm's way. They are highly technically, efficient. They know what they're doing. I mean, this is amazing, Maria, just to see the silver lining in a lot of this. is the great people that are Americans in the private sector, which is so much of what you talk about on your show. And I heard your prior guest. You know, all we talk about is big government, and big government is the only solution. The private sector is the solution to America, and that's why Donald Trump has to be elected. He understands that cutting taxes, increasing growth, bringing jobs back to this country, getting people back to work, you know, that is what's going to get us out of our deficit problems. That's what's going to bring back our security, not overrunning the border with criminals and people who aren't going to contribute to our society. And this is why this is such a critical election, as you know, and you've done a phenomenal job. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Look, early voting is beginning this week in Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada. Next week, early voting begins in Wisconsin. I want to get your take on how the race is going. I mean, former President Trump is holding a rally at Madison Square Garden later this month. He confirmed this with me in my interview yesterday. He also said they've got a lot of other arenas they're working on. Listen to this.
You told me back in February that you were going to rent out Madison Square Garden for a rally.
Yeah.
And now you're going to do it at the end of October.
Not only Madison Square Garden, we're taking 4 or 5 arenas. We fill them up very fast. As you know, we took where the Islanders play in Long Island. We had, I guess, 23,000 people, and we could have sold it out literally 3 times. We had thousands of people. We had tens of thousands of people that couldn't get in. We put screens on the outside of the building so they could see it. But that was incredible. And we just signed on Madison Square Garden. We're probably going to make a deal in Atlanta. We're trying to get the Atlanta arena, and we fill them up in minutes. And there's a great enthusiasm.
I think Madison Square Garden can only hold 20,000 people.
Oh, we're going to fill it up very fast. It's true.
So, Congresswoman, number one, can Trump win New York? Is there a chance of that? What do you expect from the down ballot races? And what about these Obama comments the other day? Okay, Obama claims that black men are not with Kamala Harris because the brothers are uncomfortable with a woman as president. Really?
Yeah, you know, this is absurd. Look, I think Trump has a shot. I don't, honestly, just be honest, I don't think he can necessarily win New York. I think he'll do really well. It's possible. But the Democrats don't quit. You know, they have things like the Voter Participation Center, these dark money groups that go out and they're harvesting absentee ballots from seniors. They're going to Democrat areas. They're not sending any out to Republicans. This is happening right now in one of the counties I share with one of our key swing districts in New York. I have half the county. They're not even trying to get the Democrats out to vote in my county because it's more Republican. But look, I think President Trump is doing an amazing job. And I think one of the important things he does, he is talking in all these places where you see young men, the Andrew Schultz show. He talked about the weave, his signature move, kind of to move it. You know, he said, I'm not rambling, I'm weaving. I'll get back to the point.
Right.
You know, brilliant moves like this are what's going to get those swing district voters. And that's how he's going to win this race. And I think it's going to be down to the wire, but I think he always overperforms the polls. And I think it's going to be a showdown on Election Day. But I think if the race were held today, I think President Trump's going to win this.
You know, Obama's comments, weren't they just so stereotypical and condescending to black men?
Yeah. It's the reason Obama is still not popular and he's so gone. Nobody cares about Obama anymore. He's out there trying to look at him, even without a teleprompter, he's still weak. It's the same Obama. You get the same PTSD when he's out there. Very arrogant. I agree, Maria. And this did not resonate. You know, it's insulting to voters of color, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Congresswoman, it's good to see you as always. Thank you. Claudia Tenney is in New York, and we will see you soon.